the kitchen of intrigue, Curt Jackson and Chris Callowell are cooking up a batch of mystery soup.
Each episode serves a new blend of tips, tactics, trends, and tales from the business and design sides of the escape room world.
So grab your spoon, because this episode starts in 3, 2, 1.
Mystery Soup.
Welcome back to the Mystery Soup podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Callowell, and with me not as always, because I wasn't with you last time. But
you weren't with us last week. Was it last week? Yeah.
He can do it without me. I can't do it without him. But
well, listen, hey,
it's
to be fair, you've got a big job. You're executive director of a summer camp, and
make it sound fancy. Make it sound like I'm important. A big job. I sit in meetings all day. I feel like is what I do.
Babies. That's true. But you do have a lot of meetings.
40 committees at least, I think, on this camp board that I sit through, and it is meeting season.
Are you you're switching out your escape room at camp?
I am going to one you actually did at my last place, the Professor O. So redoing that here with some little differences, some changes here and there, because we have a little bit bigger space than the little shed we were in there at Camp Good News. But
you mentioned something about something happened during family camp.
Oh my! Well, it kind of worked out. So the plan was the escape room was going to be done at our family camp. Like when family camp was over, escape room was changing out. We were good. And so we're like, cool. Right before family camp started, the hot water heater that we don't even use, it's just over there because it was an old cafeteria. But the hot water heater busted out the bottom and flooded the escape room.
Man.
But you know what? It was all right. The family campers were okay. They traipsed through the water, and we've gotten everything sucked up and dried. Now ready to start tearing down walls and
so it was just like
it was well, and then you see the trail of like footprints out of the room, like through the lobby and out the other door. And so how about you? What are you working on right now?
Well, next, as this is being recorded, next week we are going to PuzzleCon in Memphis. But once this episode is live, we'll have come back. I'm not sure if I'm going to do like maybe a recap. Maybe we'll do an episode of things that
stick it in there.
We learned and go from there. But yeah, getting ready for that. Excited
Beautiful.
about that. Yep. Cool.
Well, we have another exciting episode. Today we have Omer Aru. And we practiced. I said it in my head 3 times, and I still messed it up. So I'm doing great.
It's the effort
Omar
that counts.
Is here. He is with Escape Room Herndon.
Yep.
Look at me. I'm able to read well today. This is the day for it. So Omar, welcome.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Happy to be here. Yeah, absolutely.
Been trying to get you on for a bit, and so glad to finally make it happen.
Yeah, last time we were just at the end where I was like, okay, let's go ahead and do it. You're like, no, everything's absolutely booked up. Let's try again next time.
You're happy to be here now. Wait till the end of it. You might change your mind. So
yeah. It'll be fine.
But this is our 27th episode, Curt?
That's a lot. That's cool.
I know. We're cranking them out.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool. Let's get into it. I want to learn about Omar and everything. So tell us a little bit about life outside of the escape room first.
Outside of it, I'm a dad. So I've got 2 teenage boys. They take up a lot of time, but they're great. They're independent kids, so they do a lot of stuff. So they're a lot of fun. I'm a gamer. So in my spare time, I like to game in mostly online, like Xbox kind of games. And then activity wise, it's golf, maybe the gym, try to eat healthy, all the rest of that stuff, just regular living outside of escape rooms.
There's not much of a life outside of this normally.
What's a couple of favorite video games?
I play a lot of, so I've got Game Pass on Xbox. So there's a lot of garbage games on there and I just love them so much. Like my favorite are just really bad games that I've got one I'm playing called Graveyard Keeper. It's like Stardew Valley, but dark. And then I
Nice.
spent, I think, 70 hours playing this game called Brotato. So just really just bad games are kind of my jam. And then I play like Call of Duty with friends and like Overwatch and the regular shooters and stuff.
Gotcha. And do you ever play any of the escape room games? There's a few on there.
I've tried a few of them and I just can't do it.
They're not good.
all.
Yeah.
No, it's just not my jam. Like it's fun and I get the puzzles and it's neat, but it feels like I'm almost doing research or work and then it's just not as enjoyable.
Right. No, I totally get that. I just got the Humble bundle?
Yeah.
The Steam one that had
Yep.
the escape rooms. I haven't checked into any of them yet, but I have them there.
Yeah. If I could get all the money back from Humble Bumbles I've spent and never used.
Right. It's true. It is true.
That's so funny.
So is the escape room the only thing you do now, or do you have another job?
Now it is. Yeah. So it's all I do these days is
Yeah.
just manage the Herndon site and Raven's Nest. But before this, I was in sales for like 15 years doing wholesale computer sales and account management and stuff like that. And I started off as an engineer and then went into sales. And then now I'm an escape room owner. So it's a weird path to get here.
Right. Do any of those skills help you?
I think the sales definitely helps a lot
Yeah.
because doing customer relations, talking to customers, emailing corporate, that kind of thing, it totally helps a lot. And like being able to deal with angry customers, it's so much easier as a salesperson because you deal with angry people all the time. And then the engineering, I did mining engineering. So unless there's like blowing up the side of a mountain, there is that much that really relates.
I'm down for that escape room.
Yeah, I got to do that. I did that one time. It was definitely worth it. Definitely worth the one time I got to blow up the side of a mountain.
That is awesome.
Right? Oh,
Virginia. There's some mountains down in Virginia, right?
Yeah, I was down in North Carolina and we just blew up it's essentially just rock is all we did. We pushed rock, broke up rock, and then moved the rock back into a different place. It's not really entertaining, but I mean, it was something. I went to college for it, so what do you know?
Do your kids like helping with the escape room? Do they help at all? Or
so my oldest could give a damn. He doesn't care at all. He's 18. He's got his own things going on. And the only way he talks about it is one day I'm going to open up a business so I can buy your escape room and close it.
Wow. Wow.
Just, in a fun teen kind of way. I don't think he'd actually do it. But I mean, like he jokes about his goal is to put me in a home. So, it's that kind of my youngest just started working there as a game master this past summer. He's 15. So that's much more up his alley too.
Yeah.
He's played all the games. My oldest, I don't think has played any since he was like 10.
Yeah. So
yeah. Since the first escape rooms he played, he hasn't played since.
Done with this.
It's not his jam.
So how'd y'all get hit with the escape room bug?
So in the summer of 2015, I was on a family vacation and I was kind of winding down in the job I had. I wanted to start a new career. So I was trying to talk my stepbrother into going into this online sales company. Like we were going to sell 3D printer supplies. I thought it was freaking brilliant. And he said, okay, like before you even start looking into this and all that, come to Richmond and play this escape room thing we just started. And I think you're going to really like it. So that October, I went to Escape Room RVA in Richmond and played the Chris Trip, which was the very first escape room I played. There was a group of 10 people and then I joined in with them. So that was when like everything was public and they had this one random kid join in with them to play. We had so much fun in this tiny cramped little escape room.
11 people.
And at the end of it, we were all high-fiving, cheering and hugging. And immediately I was hooked. I was like, that's definitely all I ever want to do. What do we do? And that was our origin story too. That was the first escape room I played is the one that convinced me I wanted to do this forever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was in October. Then in November, I got our LLC. And then by February, we signed the lease for our property up here.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's crazy fast.
Having done one room.
Doing one room. And then we opened in May, February, March, April, May. Yeah, we opened in May or June was our soft launch. So within, I guess, what is that, like 8 months of playing my first escape room, we opened with 3 rooms at our current location.
Wow.
Yeah.
I bet they're a step above these days than what you first did.
Yeah, the first one was like all IKEA furniture. We had high school lockers with like locks on them. Yeah, we had like one piece of tech and then a bookcase in the middle of the room that was clearly a door, but nobody thought it was a door because this is like, why would there be a fake door in here? And it was very much early days. We've learned a lot since then. I think we're on room 12 that we've built. So we've built a decent amount along the way.
Were you playing rooms in between from your first run till you opened? No.
Nope.
Okay.
No.
So
No,
one
wait,
room.
no, that's not true. I did play. There's a company called Escape Room Live, which isn't around here anymore. But I did play them because they had opened prior to us. And that was I wanted to do like figure out what everyone else in the area is doing.
Mhm.
So I did play their rooms while we were building.
Okay.
So at this point, you've played 5 games outside of your company.
Yes. Like when we were starting, yeah, that was it. And then that was when we designed our first room. I built the puzzle on the first game after having played maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Wow.
But when I was a kid, I used to play these games called King's Quest and Police Quest and like their Sierra games. And these were adventure games back in like the 90s and I guess maybe the 80s. And it was very much like going to search this tree, find a key, that key opens this door. And I was like, I could design this. Like, this is what I've always loved playing. So why not design games like that?
Yeah,
That's cool.
that is cool. And is the location that you're in now, was that the original location where Herndon is?
It is. It was 4,000 square feet. It was a kickboxing gym.
Ah,
And it was just a blank slate. We tore like pretty much cleaned up the floor and then just built 4 rooms and a large lobby. And that's been the same space pretty much since. We expanded one of the rooms a little bit because we had this huge lobby space and we didn't need it. But other than that, yeah, it's been the same 4 rooms, different games in all the rooms though. We've torn them down and built them back up a few times.
Did you have those carpentry skills to put up the walls, or did you have to bring people in?
No, I can't build a box.
He
I
can
can't
blow up things, Kurt. He blows up.
It blows
things.
them up, right?
I'm the demo team. Yeah, like demo. I'm great at demo.
I'm surprised you didn't go into a rage room business.
Yeah. Now I've got my business partner. I've got a minority business partner, and he does a lot of carpentry. He's not super into escape rooms, but he loves to build. So he does a lot of the like custom build stuff for me, and then some of the more intricate pieces. We still got people in Richmond that we can reach out to who build stuff. Like I got a guy building me something for a new game right now down there, and they just do like fantastic stuff. It's Pleasantly Plum is his company name.
Okay.
But he does escape room stuff for me, RVA, and then he's got an entire carpentry business outside of that.
Interesting.
We're like the unique, odd things he gets to be imaginative about.
Everybody needs that.
So you kind of mentioned the Raven Chase and being part of this Raven Chase Adventures family. Tell me a little bit about that. What is that?
So it was family. It's the weirdest thing. So the guy I talked to in the summer before I started was Josh Sarda. And he's the founder and creator of Raven Chase Adventures, which used to do city hunts and that kind of things, custom built puzzle things. And then he opened the escape room under Raven Chase. That's in RVA. He helped me launch Herndon. We brought up 2 of his old rooms. We built a new room, and then he gave me a lot of consulting stuff. And he is, as family goes, he is my ex-step brother-in-law. So he's the stepbrother of my ex-wife.
Wow.
So yeah, it's fun to say. And
Virginia, it's all family, right?
Wow.
Him and I still have a great relationship, but now we're no longer part of the franchise part of it. We're still family, but we do all our own independent stuff. We're not like franchise. Okay. He wanted to build an escape room, a second one down there. So I bought out our franchise part, and then he used those funds to build Gnome and Raven, which is also an RVA, which is fantastic.
And then how does Arlington come in?
Great question. So Arlington was opened by my stepbrother, also named Josh, right before I think COVID hit. And he like that. The facility is fantastic. The rooms were great, but they just didn't get the same volume. And he ended up moving back down to Richmond, and that location is no longer part of us. He sold the lease off, and there's another company that owns Arlington now.
And then there's the Warehouse 29 RVA.
Yeah, that was one of Josh's projects. It's not around anymore, but that was early days walking VR. So before everyone was doing VR, he had these packs built where you could put the VR on and walk around the space in VR. And part of the puzzle was you walking around and doing things in VR before going into a real life, like removing the VR and going into the second half of the game. It was super wild, way ahead of their time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then that also shut down. I think that was shut down for COVID, and they never came back. And then
COVID.
He's got Gnome and Raven down there, which is more of a kids style escape room. And they've got 4 games there. And then he opened Revealer, which is like a bar. Yeah, he's got his hands in all kinds of things. So like he's a very creative guy. Love that guy.
That's awesome. So there's kind of that thin connection between everybody now, that it's not a franchise anymore.
No, we're just like, we're family, and we consult on stuff. Like if he's got questions, we check on how things are going, blah, 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 that kind of thing. But I'm not involved in their business. They're not involved in ours.
Okay. But Herndon has, I was on your website and I didn't notice this when I was there. So I don't know if it's new because I played a couple of your rooms. What is Raven's Nest?
So Raven's Nest is like an expansion. We came down the time to where we had to retire a room. And my choices were 8-bit, which I love to death, or a pirate room. And I really didn't want to retire either one of them. So I wanted to build a new room, but I didn't want to retire what we had. So we decided we'd expand, and we're expanding in the same shopping center. But I thought it would be clever to, instead of Escape Room Herndon 2, we would come up with a new name. So like maybe if we wanted to expand, we could do it. And then after building it, I was like, I'm never doing this again. So
really?
Yeah, I thought we could do like more Raven's Nest elsewhere, but man, it's such a chore. So I don't know if I'll expand it. It's just our expanded location, and I don't think I'm going to make another Raven's Nest.
But it has a cryptid room.
It does. That's our newest room.
Is it the Mothman, right? It looks like the Mothman is what some of your t-shirts have.
Okay, so the story is that you're in the woods and then you're camping and someone breaks into your car in the middle of the night and steals your karaoke machine. Follow the footprints into the woods, and then you come up to this shack, which ends up being a gift shop for cryptids. So Bigfoot runs a shack where cryptids can go and buy tchotchkes. And
I love it.
Inside that place is a museum for humans where Bigfoot has collected human artifacts and displays them there so that cryptids can come and see what humans have, because they're shy creatures and they don't want to mess with humans.
That's fantastic.
And so you have to find your karaoke machine and take it back. And it's very loosely based off this kids show called Gravity Falls that my kids used to love growing up. So I always wanted to do like an homage to that. So it's got a whole bunch of little Easter eggs for anyone who's seen that series.
And so your next room is going to be a pineapple under the sea?
Right.
When I was there, I think it was a game master saying, "Oh, you're playing Maritime Mutiny, the pirate one. It's not going to be around for very much longer." And in fact, I reached out to you. I was like, "If you're selling that game, let me know," because we enjoyed it, and you decided to keep it around. That's a good call.
I did. Did you ever play Room 213?
No.
That was the one with the hanging bodies. Okay. So we had this scary room that was based off H.H. Holmes and the Murder Castle in the World's Fair. And in that room, it had hanging bodies that you had to move around on a grid to line them up to the right place in order to trigger something opening. And we would have one of those bodies we could move. so that it would flap back and forth and make a sound and freak everybody out. It was fantastic. Loved it to death. We retired that room so we could build a new room. And that was the last room. I was like, never doing that again. I love that room. I hated retiring it. So that's why we expanded, because I didn't want to retire another room like that.
Looking at your pictures too, you have that party room. First of all, I
Yes.
love the black and white and then all the colorful party stuff. I'm like, oh, that's really cool looking. Like it just,
Thank you. Thank you.
the design looks awesome. So how's your party room do you feel like it's beneficial, or would you rather have another room?
We may eventually, if we get to the point where we've built the 2 rooms that I wanted in that space and we feel the itch to make another room, we may retire it, but it's a nice to have. It's build it and forget it kind of thing, where we don't have to maintain it too much. You just have to keep it clean. And it's just a nice bonus for people who come in to do birthday parties, to have a place that they can go afterwards. We used to get the requests a lot. And so we're like, well, we've got the space. I don't want to really commit to building a game in this small room. So let's just make it into a party room. And it gets a decent amount of usage. I looked at the numbers before. I think it's like, it's been booked about maybe 30 times over the summer, which pays for like half of the build so far. So if it books for another 30, then we've kind of made our money back, and that's fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't say it's like a great profit center, but it's just a nice to have.
Yeah.
So is 8-Bit your favorite game that you have?
It's my favorite to build. It's my favorite
Yeah.
to run. It's my favorite to buy supplies for. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a child of the era. And
Right.
so shopping for the supplies for that room is so much fun. I get to go on eBay and I'm probably cornered the market on Nintendo Powers from 1984 to 1989.
You have an arcade game in there that is,
I do.
Yeah, that obviously is custom made. How do you get that made?
One of our previous employees worked at Blizzard, and they knew how to code in Unity.
Wow,
So they created the game in their spare time.
that's awesome.
Yeah. It was a totally functioning arcade game, and it was one of my childhood favorites. It's this wrestling game called Matt Madness. And so I would play that all the time while we were building. And I resisted cutting the cord on the actual game for as long as I could until the very end. And the software's still in there. I just have to reconnect the wires if I ever decide I want to play the game again.
I used to work at this overnight camp, and during the off season, it was like skeleton staff. And I remember we were a little bored and we're like, it'd be nice to have an arcade game. And so we get on, I don't know, I think it was Craigslist at the time. And we bought an old Shinobi game. But we spent so many hours. I love arcade games. I wish arcades were still a big thing. Taking your quarters in, and now I have to go to Dave and Buster's, and it's like $1.50 per game.
Yeah. I did a recon tour. I was in LA, and part of that was a meetup for Morty, the Escape Room app, and their meetup was at an arcade, and I just like angled for like 15 minutes, and then I just kind of snuck away and went into the arcade. And I had so much fun just playing all these old games. It was great.
Yeah. The pinballs too. I love playing pinball games. Yeah. So you've got 8-Bit, you've got Mutiny, you've got the Grave Robbers Dilemma, you've got the Cryptid, which I'm so excited. I got to get there to play. What else
It's a Magician's Workshop.
Workshop. Okay.
And that one is loosely based off the Prestige.
So cool.
Just a movie I love. That's kind of where we get a lot of the inspiration. It's just things that we like. We try to build games based on that.
For sure.
I love that movie. And I was like, this would be really fun to build like an escape room for.
Right.
And then that's how it does. Like we had a Star Wars room for a while. That was so much fun. It was a mix of Star Wars and Spaceballs.
Of course.
Yeah.
And what's the most popular room you have?
It fluctuates a lot. There isn't one that's absolutely crushing it all the time. Mutiny tends to be very popular because it's a large room and it's great for birthday parties. So a lot of birthday parties come in there. It's easier slightly than the rest. I think the most beloved is probably 8-Bit or Magicians, but it fluctuates so much. Everyone
Yeah.
seems to have their own personal favorite. Like someone will hate 8-bit and love Grave Robbers. And then the next person in the group is like, no way, I feel totally opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah, we don't have a single, like we try to make enough variety so that we touch a lot of different interests.
Yeah.
So everyone can have their own favorite hero moment. Everyone can have their own favorite style of game and puzzles and all that stuff. We try to put enough variety in there to make everyone have something they could enjoy.
Cool.
Yeah, it's good. Well, and so Curt stole some of your prizes, but you have these bonus puzzles too, right? That when people finish early and how did that start? And is it something like you feel like other companies need to do? Is that kind of a beneficial thing, you think?
I was on a tour in New Orleans, and we went to Escape My Room, which is, if you haven't been, it's fantastic. And we played, I think it was the Inventor's Attic or something. I can't remember the exact name.
Inventor's Attic. Yep.
Okay. So we're enthusiasts. So we finished with maybe something like 15 minutes left. And I've played a lot of escape rooms, so I'm used to kind of finishing a little bit early. And the game master walks in and is like, all right, you guys did fantastic. Here's a bonus puzzle. And we're like, what? We get to do more because we did so well? And it was so basic. It was very much just kind of like reversing a puzzle that we finished, and you do it backwards. And I was blown away. It was like a concept that had never even occurred to me. I was like, wow, I feel so special. And so I wanted to incorporate that into our games here, especially the easier ones, so that you could have more to do if you crush a game. The one in 8-bit is there because the puzzle was originally in the base game, but it was too much of a bottleneck, but I still like the puzzle. So we created like a bonus level. If you finish with enough time, you can try this bonus level, and there's a little gnome that you get if you win. And then Mutiny is our easier game. So we would have enthusiasts finish in like 30 minutes or so. So I tried to create city puzzle hunt type puzzles. So different than escape room puzzles, much more pen and paper types that were far too difficult to be in the regular game. And we have 4 of them in there, and it's very rare that someone will finish all 4 of them. But if they do, they get like a large octopus statue.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we were that last one we didn't get.
Wow. It's designed on purpose to take up the rest of your time.
Yeah.
The problem I have with it, I think the one in 8-bit works great. The one in Mutiny is a bit of a challenge because everyone has the high of finishing the room, and then they get beat up by the bonus puzzles. And then they leave feeling like they failed the room, which isn't a feeling that I want them to have, because they crushed the room. They could have left and been like super happy, but then they play the escape or the bonuses, and they're like, it's a downer. So it's a mixed bag.
That makes sense. Is there a time limit? Like they have to have so much time left that you'll decide that then?
Yeah. For 8-bit, I think it's 15 minutes. For Mutiny, it's 20. And even 20 is pushing it. You need like maybe 30 minutes in there. But like we just had a group this past weekend where they did fantastic in the room, and then they got stuck on the 3rd bonus box. And the lady comes out and she's like telling the staff, she's like, that was freaking stupid. I hated that.
Oh, wow.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, like, sorry. What are we going to do?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's a mixed bag. I don't know.
When you went to Escape My Room, they didn't have a prize for if you finished it, right?
No, it was just a feeling of accomplishment. And I don't even know if we finished the bonus puzzle or not. It just felt we had earned something that not everyone gets. And that was part of the fun. Why
did you choose the little dwarf?
Well, because like gnomes are kind of a mascot of ours. And I used to buy them in bulk from Amazon. And then suddenly they stopped. So there's no more gnomes. I can't get the right size gnomes. Like the ones that I can get now are maybe like an inch tall. They're for potted plants.
When we got this, we were like, oh, there's actually a prize. It's like reaching into a cereal box. It was the coolest thing. So I love that you do that. And yes, I will be keeping that with me.
He has showed it to me like 3 different times. I'm like, I've seen it. I know I wasn't there, but I've seen it.
So, Omar, obviously you design your own games. What's your design process? How does that work?
Generally, come up with a theme first. It's either I come up with a theme or staff might come up with a theme, and then we just kind of noodle it down into what sounds like fun, creative, different idea. Like
Mhm.
we want to make it so it's lighthearted, something you don't normally do. Like heists are great, but if I were going to do a heist, it would be something a little goofier, I think.
Yeah.
And then I found that I am far more interested designing puzzles for things that are interesting to me, like a theme that's interesting or something that sounds like it would be fun to create. Like the Gravity Falls one, that was easy because I like the show and I wanted to create something with cryptids, so it was a lot easier to design. And then once we have the theme, we kind of work backwards a little bit with like what we want the overarching idea to be, and then what the puzzles should be like, what kind of thematic puzzles we want to go with. And then we'll
Mhm.
narrow that down into what the puzzle should look like. And I'll have like a whole list of them, and then I'll just narrow that down to which ones I think are fun, which ones are doable. And then like once we build it, then we'll test it and see what's actually viable for the
What
game.
works? So you
Yeah.
include your staff in this process.
I try to.
Yeah.
I'm very monopolizing of the puzzle itself, but
Sure.
I take a lot of feedback on it, but I like to create the puzzles. I like them to come up with the themes because they're all so creative and they come up with fun different ideas. Like
Mhm.
the current one, I can't take any credit for this one. This was like we have a chalkboard in our office, and there was just a list of maybe like 30 different ones that we kept narrowing down, and then we got to the final one, and then we went back and forth on what the story should be, and finally like came to what it is now. And I love the theme, so it's going to be kind of fun to create for.
So we talked to other owners and their design process is come up with the theme, the storyline, and then they build the room and take whatever's in the room to create puzzles. So there's like, oh, there's these t-shirts or there's these cups or there's whatever. But you do the puzzles first and then build the set around that. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I've got my puzzles already written out. Like I know
Mhm.
what I want them to be. I know what parts we want to use. I know what props we want to use. So we'll build the room around the puzzles.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
And then I need to build a cabinet in there. And I think it's got to be a custom build, which my buddy James is going to sadly have to build, and he's not going to be happy about it. But because I want the cabinet to do specific things for the puzzle. So we'll build it according to that.
Got it. Got it.
So do you do most of the building, or do you have a whole team that kind of helps build all the sets and stuff?
Man, I wish we did. We should at this point be outsourcing. But really, it's just going to be me and James in there, and his boy now, or his son is a teen, so he's probably going to help him build. But
Nice.
we outsource the big pieces, and then we do sadly build all ourselves,
Mhm.
which makes it take forever to do. But I think it's better control of the quality, and we get
Yeah.
to do it right the first time.
You learn a lot of stuff from YouTube?
I can't build anything. Yeah.
It's
He
like,
does.
James.
Yeah,
how do
whatever James says to do, that's what I'm there for. Like hold this piece of wood here. It's like, got it. I can do that. Yeah,
Right.
I do all the wiring and electronic stuff. I can't do anything like any of that carpentry stuff. It's just way
Oh,
beyond my scope.
so you do the electronics? Like, what
I
do
do.
you use, like Escape Keeper, Arduinos? What do you use?
Yeah, I use mostly Escape Keeper, and then we used to use K90s, but we'll do like different kind of sensor stuff.
Okay.
But Escape Keepers tends to be my favorite, or Peekaboos,
Yeah.
same company, same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then we'll work within that functionality. I'm trying to use cogs for this new one, but I've still got to fiddle around with it to see if I can get it to do what I want it to do. But I think if I could pick the functionality I want, it's that. But I know how to build with Escape Room Keeper. I don't know how to do with cogs yet. Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah, I got
want to
their
design with theirs. The
yeah,
starter
I got
pack.
their little starter kit and I've been playing around with it. And the nice thing is that they have so much all the videos and so much
Yeah.
documentation, and they're so receptive when you email them. Like they get back to you right away, which is nice. So speaking of that, are you going to use the cogs system? What do your game masters use right now to run the games?
We use a Escape Room Master.
Okay, how's
Um,
that?
It's fine. We've been
Yeah.
using it from day one. I don't even know if Nate even looks at it anymore. The guy who created it, he might just be living on a beach now, just collecting money. I don't know. I don't know where the support is there anymore. It functions and it works, and that's all we needed to do.
Yep.
And then we do everything outside of that is old school. We've got old school, almost like control boards where people will have buttons and switches to turn things on and off, so they can sometimes create magic or just keep people from doing stuff that they don't need to do anymore.
I'm surprised at how many owners we've talked to that have just override switches. They don't even use any software. It's just very basic cameras, mic, and some switches and a couple remotes or something like that. So
Very much that we are old school as it comes for that. It's worked for us, and I think it keeps maybe the game masters engaged, but also it's something I know I can fix right away if I need to.
Yeah, for sure.
What is your timeline or average timeline from like start of building the room till open for players?
I would say 6 months, but I've finished the puzzle probably in March, and we've yet to start really building the room. So I think we've gotten to a point where every room takes us a little bit longer to do. This one's going to be ready. I think we really started building it in about August once all the permits were done. And I think we'll be open maybe in February, but I don't feel the
opening
urgency.
dates out there. Like, do you tell people? Yeah. I would need that. I would need an opening date because I am such a procrastinator. I have to have it done by this point.
But then there's those places that give you that date, and now
And they don't
3
hit it.
years later, you're like,
Oh my God.
what?
There's a company that will go unnamed, but if you're in Northern Virginia, you know who they are as an escape room person. And they have one fantastic room. Absolutely love it. And I played that before COVID. And I was like, so when's the next room? It's like, we're building it now. Should be ready soon. That room is never going to. That room is like 5 years in the build. And anyone who lives up here loves the company and is like, they just said they were building a new room. It's like, oh, you must have gone there recently.
We had one of those in Orlando, and it took forever, and finally came out, and it's a great game. So it was worth the wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever this one comes out, I know it's going to be good, but I mean, I hope I'm still alive when it's.
That's fine. So there are quite a lot of businesses around you, a lot of other escape rooms in that area.
Yeah, we've got a decent amount. I think maybe 10 or so in the close vicinity. We've got the Escape game just came up here. They bought an old company and they're in the area. We've got them within 10 to 15 miles. We've got a good handful of them, and they're all like good quality too. We've got for the most part, we all have a pretty good relationship.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd say would set your business set it apart a little bit differently?
I think we focus on making sure that we're putting out good quality stuff and our staff is on point and friendly and helpful. So we focus on kind of not setting ourselves apart from everyone, but just doing the best that we possibly can. I like the rooms to be fun. I like to have attention to detail in them. I like putting little hidden things in there that maybe 1 to 10% of people will notice. And those 2 people will be like, wow, that's neat. And I like to put some details in there. That's about it. But other than that, I think everyone is doing their best to put out a quality game in whatever fashion or style that they make it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. I don't want to be the best. If we are, that's great. But my thought is not to distinguish ourselves from everyone else. It's to raise the bar and all the ships along with it as much as we can.
Nice. Does Gnome and Raven have bonus puzzles?
I don't know. I think they do.
We didn't finish their rooms fast enough, but that's one thing that sets you guys apart for an enthusiast is just that bonus puzzle. I've seen bonus puzzles like at a few very, very few places, but none of them gave us something to take home. I mean, you guys have a special place in my heart for that.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I try to come at the rooms from the perspective of a player as well as a owner, because I love playing escape rooms. I could play them all day long, and I've just recently played like 7 in a day, and it was fantastic. Man, my favorite.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Like I tried to make rooms that are accessible to people who haven't played escape rooms before, but also enjoyable by enthusiasts. So that there's enough difference that you haven't, maybe you play a puzzle you haven't seen before, or there's something that we do that you appreciate, even though you've played like 200 to 500 games. And then also at the same time, make it accessible to someone who's bringing a friend who's never played an escape room before. So they can all kind of share in the same experience, maybe get something else different out of it, but at least be able to enjoy it.
It's not easy to do.
No, it's a lot of fine tuning.
Yeah.
Do you point out the Easter eggs when people don't catch them? Like if they don't notice them?
Nah.
Oh,
No, I
see,
think it's
I have a couple in my room and I'm always like, y'all missed that. Did you see? I have to explain it. Like, I need you to know this is here.
Because it's all about Chris.
Yes.
if I talk to enthusiasts or friends or something who played it, I will go through and I'll point out, like, oh, there's this thing here, there's that thing there. This is a tie-in to this game from like the past. My favorite example of that is, have either of you played 8-Bit?
Yep, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you notice the ceiling in 8-Bit?
No.
Okay. It's popcorn ceiling because it's an 80s room. So we sprayed the tile on the top to make it a popcorn ceiling. It's just a tiny little detail that nobody notices or cares about, but I wanted to do it. So that's why we have it.
And we put in asbestos here and there. And,
exactly. The paint is all lead based.
Yeah, that's right. That authenticity. So, Omar, is there something that you'd like to improve or change about your business?
I've played a lot of games that stir up kind of emotions and have stories and things like that. And our rooms aren't very narrative based. We try to put a little bit of narrative here and there, but the backstory is so hidden, I think, from the customer because we just want them to play the game and nobody wants to sit around and read a really long text.
Right.
So if I could find a way to convey story better and create emotion, that would be great. I played Strange Bird Immersive, Man from Beyond, and the way they just create like feeling in the room, I was so envious. And they're just from the beginning, like they've talked about the circle and
magic circle.
The magic circle and bringing people in. And I would love to create that kind of feeling. I don't think we do it right, and I think it wouldn't be authentic if we tried. So if I could find a way to do that better, I think that's the main thing I would really like to do.
Would you ever have live actors?
No, it's such a grab bag, and we don't have a ton of we have theater kids up here, but that's about it. And I can't rely on someone to create a constant story for that. We tried to not have them in character because it's not authentic.
The consistency as well, kind of what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
What's a mistake you made at the beginning?
When we first started out, we had no idea how long an escape room was supposed to be around. So the very first game I designed was called Mary in the Black, and it was open from May 2016 to October 2016 because we thought everyone in the area who wants to play this room has played it already. Let's close it and build a new game. So we kept our very first room open for 6 months. And then our next room was open for like maybe a year. And we were turning them around so quickly because there was no script. There was no idea. Nobody knew how long things were supposed to be around.
Right.
So I think we learned a lot along the way by building, breaking down over and over again. So we got much better at our craft. But I think there was a lot of cost that went out that way, and we never saved the rooms. We just destroy them and start over again. So I think it would have been nice to maybe save some of those so we can bring them back, or keep them around a little bit longer so some people could have played it.
What's the longest room you have now? The one that's been around the most?
It's 8-Bit. We opened it in 2018. I just checked.
Wow.
That. Yeah, and I may never retire that room. That could,
and it's still selling.
Yeah, it does great. And
it's
it's a fun room. The tech's holding up. We've replaced so many other things in there, but you kind of have to. You can't really keep any of your original stuff, especially that long. and the wear and tear is so high on things that we've
Sure.
replaced a lot, but it still holds up. The puzzles seem to be fun. People enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I still love it. I will game master that room all day long if I have.
So do you have any advice that you'd give to new aspiring owners?
I would say to look at it as a business. First and foremost, I thought early on that I was just going to be building games and puzzles and it was just going to be fun and we're just going to design stuff and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And then immediately I found out like, okay, you need to learn about fire code, permits, you need to do these applications. And I think
Paperwork.
maybe, yeah, it's so much paperwork. It's all business, it's customer relations, it's everything but puzzles. Like you could be the best puzzle designer in the world, and then you're doing 10% of that as your job. And then the rest of it is all the admin business, making sure that the company stays around for a while, negotiating leases, a whole bunch of different things. I had no idea I had to prepare for.
Right.
So I think if you go into it as it's not a hobby, it's a business, and you're fortunate enough to make this into a business, but don't forget that at the end of the day, you've got employees you have to pay, you've got debtors you have to pay back, you've got leases, and you have customers you have to take care of. It's not about your puzzles and your games. It's about them first. Then it's all about everything else.
Have you been up to Toronto at all?
No, I haven't been to Toronto then.
Toronto, we just had the two owners from Daydream Adventures on, and one of them is the creative and the other one is the admin. And so it seems to work out. And I would love to be, I want the creative part. I don't want to do some people have the head for the business. But when you're a solo or you're two creatives, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah. I'm fortunate to have the background in sales, so I know a little bit of that side, and then maybe the engineering helps a little bit too. Very comfortable dealing with customers and clients and all the paperwork stuff. I'm totally fine doing it. I just didn't know I was going to have to.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about it when I was starting out.
So being in sales, what marketing works for you?
We do a little bit of Google ads, actually a lot of Google ads. We used to do some Facebook stuff and Yelp, but I don't do those anymore. And the rest of it is just kind of a little bit of social media and mostly, I guess, like word of mouth and working with people who email us. So a lot of inbound sales is what we do best at. I've tried outbound sales, and besides corporate stuff, it feels disingenuous for me. I don't want to be like, hey, look at this escape room thing. You guys should do it. I think we get enough that are coming in that we work to create a great experience for them so that they can be ambassadors for us.
Yeah.
So what does the future hold for Escape Room Herndon?
I'm going to build a new room. I'm in the process of doing that. Once we finish that room, I think we're going to focus on refining what we have now. We should be done by the end of the year, hopefully, on this build. And then 2025 is
putting a date out there.
And then hopefully all of next year, it's just going to be refining what we do and making it better, improving games, improving tech, that kind of thing, and just kind of solidify the 6 games that we have.
Yeah.
If by the end of that year, I get the bug to expand again, then maybe we'll open another small Raven's Nest in the Northern Virginia area. But as of right now, I don't want to ever do that again. But we'll see. That's like parents get insomnia after their kids said, the toddler ages were great.
So easy.
So easy. Let's have another.
Probably do that again.
So we'll see, like maybe in a year, I'll feel like I want to do something again and I'll get the itch and create another room or another location.
You don't want to do that because of like getting all the permits and the build out and stuff. So would you buy an existing one that's for sale and you avoid all that?
Maybe it depends if something comes up in the location that we want to be in.
Sure.
It's possible. The problem with that is then we're running somebody else's games and under our name. And I don't know if I totally want to do that. I feel like we would want to change everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
do that.
Totally.
All right. Omar, we're going to do our speed round now. So you get 1 sentence per question. No expanding on it. If there's just question, you're just like, listen, I have no answer for it. You just skip it. All right.
I'll do my best. Okay.
Chris, take it away.
Here we go. What is your favorite nonfiction book?
Favorite nonfiction book is The Little Red Book of Selling.
All right.
How about fiction? What's your favorite fiction book?
It is either Ready Player One
Yes.
or Sun Also Rises.
Nice.
What is your favorite, or one of your favorite escape room games that you've played?
Ooh, one of my favorite was the Tomb of Anubis. That was my first favorite room, which was at 13th Gate in Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't expand on it. Yeah, well, I'll tell
It's
you
hard. I know. How about, is there a game or a location you really want to go play or visit?
Netherlands. Play I think it's Dome and the Alchemist.
Mm.
I'm asking an expansion question. Have you been overseas yet to play?
I haven't. I'm going to Greece next year to play.
Okay.
But I've already got that planned, so I'd like to go to Netherlands as another place.
All right. Favorite board game?
Risk.
Okay. Favorite YouTube or TikTok channel?
Do not have one.
All right,
That's an
that's
easy
it.
speed round. Good job.
That was it. I crushed it.
Yeah.
You did crush it. All right. So now we can kind of talk about 13th Gates. So,
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Tomb of Anubis. Have you guys played that game?
No,
Okay. It's spoilery if I tell you why I love that.
that's fine.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the first game we played at 13th Gate. They have Cutthroat Cavern, which everyone talks about. It's like a Golden Lock winner.
That I have played. Yeah.
Okay. So everyone loves that room. It's massive, right? Tomb of Anubis was their Egypt room. So we went in there, and the very first room is a small room, and there is a door with like symbols on it. Looks like a cave door. So we're solving puzzles in that room, and then we had solved all the puzzles. So it's like, I know what's going to happen now. This cave door is going to open. All the lights shut down. I'm expecting it to like glow and slide open. And we just hear like movement and stuff, but the room is pitch black. The lights come on, and now we're in this massive cavern, which is like 2 stories tall. The door had disappeared, and we were inside of a, like, looks like an Indiana Jones tomb when he falls in with the snakes.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, it blew my mind. As I was transported into a world of fantasy where, like, I don't know what's real. I don't know what's possible. Anything can happen.
Wow.
And it was my favorite wow moment experience that I've ever had in Escape Room. And it changed a lot of kind of what I thought we should be doing.
We've learned that haunt builders know
Yes.
set design.
Oh,
They
yeah.
are so good. Netherworld, they're haunt builders. They do really good, not to the scale of 13th Gate. My favorite room currently is Seat of Hope, and that's at the Sanctuary in Oklahoma, and they were haunt builders.
Wow.
So, Omar, do you have a story of an unusual group or, an incident that happened that you can share with us?
My favorite one actually is we had a corporate team building event, and this was before Mutiny was around. We had this room called Supervillains, and in the room, everyone is solving puzzles, and it's kind of cubed so people can kind of go into like their own space and solve puzzles. And there was this lady just walking around with her purse and just kind of like doing some, like grabbing into the purse. And then we looked closely and we noticed that she had a wine bottle inside of her purse, and she's swigging from it while she's playing the game. So just kind of like lifting her purse up to her face and like guzzling red wine.
Wow.
And then she threw up in the bathroom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was a bit of a show. And we had to kick somebody out for vaping in the room. And she was drunk, and her friends were just trying to play the game. And this one woman was just vaping and flipping us off. And
Wow.
yeah, but for the most part, I don't think we get too many bad groups. We close a little earlier than most. So like our last game is at 10 o'clock. So we don't get too many of the like absolute drunks coming in.
Yeah.
Which I think has worked out pretty well.
Right. You say supervillains, that's right up Chris's alley. He's
I like
all
the
about the
villains.
villains.
Oh yeah, it's still around in Arlington. We moved the game up to Arlington after we retired it, and even though it's a new company, they still kept some of our old games.
There you go, Chris.
I keep telling Curt he needs to open a room where every time you open a lock, you actually get a swig of something. So the puzzles have to get easier throughout the game. But
So early
Take a
days,
shot.
Wild Wild West, when we didn't know any better, we used to keep beer in our mini fridge in the office. And we thought it was fun to have the very last group of the night get surprised with beers. Because at RVA, they used to hide Smirnoffs inside boxes. And if you pulled a Smirnoff, you had to chug it.
What?
So we
Wow.
thought it would be fun to just leave beers inside of the room for our guests. Again, bad idea. We didn't know what we were doing at the time.
Asking for
I remember
trouble.
one time, like this group, like this two probably adults, were like, "Thanks for the beer. We don't really want these." We're like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about that. You can just leave them there."
so
You're like,
funny.
"No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it
I'll
was
take
like-
them later."
I was like, I think we got to change our business model. This isn't a good idea.
Oh, I love it. Well, tell
Awesome.
everyone the best way to reach you, contact you, follow you, whatever.
We're on Facebook, Escape Room Herndon, Instagram. I think we've got it. No, we don't have a TikTok yet, but we're on Instagram. And then I know we have one, but nobody's actually done anything with it. And then just escaperoomherndon.com is probably the best way to get most information about us.
Cool. Well, thanks, Omar, for being here and
Yeah.
doing this with us.
My pleasure. I'm happy we were finally able to get it done.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a good time. I appreciate it.
Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Mystery Soup. This has been Curt and Chris. Keep your curiosity simmering and your problem-solving skills sharp. Every mystery is just a recipe waiting to be discovered. Until next time, stay adventurous and keep cooking up solutions. See ya.
Oh no, I was gonna take your see ya.
Wait, I was waiting. Okay, go ahead. I can edit it. Go ahead.
See ya.
Mystery Soup. Mystery Soup. Mystery Soup.